Hi everyone, welcome to Out and About with Tom and Sherry. Well, we went to D23, the ultimate Disney fan event in Anaheim, California. This was the first weekend in August, and we got tickets for just Sunday. The event was Friday through Sunday, but we got tickets just for Sunday. This was the first time we've ever been to the event, so we were interested to see what all the excitement was about. So Tom and I and Tom's sister Ann got together and went to the expo, or what used to be called the expo. So this video is kind of a combination of photographs, a little bit of video, and kind of what we saw at the event, and thought we would share a few of the items with you. So these first photographs are the outside of the Anaheim Convention Center, which is where the expo or Ultimate Fan event was. So a couple photos here. This is before the mass of people got there. So dressing up, the cosplay, as they call it, is a big thing at D23. So we wanted to join the fun. So we came up with Jungle Cruise costumes. Most of the stuff we already had. A few things we had to buy, the binoculars. And I made 2 necklaces. So if you look close there, we both have necklaces, jungle type necklaces. So it was fun and nice to do the little costume dress up. Once we got inside the convention area, it was a lot of people and standing in line, as you can see. So we were on the far end of the building where we got in line.
Hi everyone, it's Sherry and Tom. Out and About with Sherry and Tom. We're at D23 on Sunday, so we'll hopefully get some good photos of stuff, some free stuff, some panels. Are you going to say something?
Some excitement.
And Ann is with us. Turn it around. Hold on. Oh, it's not going to let us.
Turn around.
Hold on. There's Ann. Hey!
You should show around the room, so there's a couple more people here.
There's a few more folks here. I don't know how many people are here. Alrighty. Well, we'll see you later.
So there's a lot of standing in line at D23. So depending on what you want to see, most everything you stand in line for. So here's Tom standing in line. The first area that Ann and I went to was the Avatar area, which was pretty neat. I've not seen the entire movie, and one of the announcements has been that they're building an Avatar land, or they're going to build an Avatar land at Disneyland somewhere. So it was probably appropriate to have this here. But there were costumes from the movie and just some animatronics. So a neat display to walk through.
This is Avatar display walkthrough.
colors. So quite the elaborate setup in this Avatar area. So neat to walk through. Just across from the Avatar area, they had a presentation stage with Lion King, the Broadway show Lion King costumes, and they were having different people speak about the Broadway show and how they made the costumes. But the costumes are really neat. So a few of them here. There was an area also for the Disney Cruise Line, so it was a nice display area, some creative designs there, and then a model of one of the ships. So that was neat to look through. Not been on a Disney cruise. I don't know that we would. I know they're kind of pricey, but quite an experience from what I hear. The Walt Disney Family Museum had an exhibit area there and some artifacts which were fun to see from Mary Poppins, which is one of my favorite Disney movies. Her boots and her hat. So that was neat. We've not been to that museum. We tried to go in May, but they were closed that day. So still on our list to see next time we go to San Francisco. There was also an exhibit for the Disney weddings. They had a variety of wedding dresses there. And then the coach, which apparently you can include in your wedding if you have it there at one of the parks. So kind of neat. I did not look to see what weddings cost since I'm already married. There were lots of photo ops, obviously, on this huge convention floor, but these were specific ones that were set up in the D23 lounge area. So give Tom a photo op and he'll take it. We were fortunate enough to get three panels to attend while we were there at the expo. The first one we saw was an interview with Bob Wise and some of his stories about his looks 4 decades, I guess, at Disney. He has a new book coming out called Dream Chasing. So he was talking about that and some of his stories. So that was interesting to see that. And then we also went to the Disney Ambassadors panel presentation. So these were the different ambassadors. I think there were two each from all the Disney parks. And they talked about how they worked at the different parks and when they became ambassadors and what they enjoyed about their experience in being a representative of the company outside of the park as well, charity events and things like that. So it was interesting to hear from the ones from the different countries. And then the last panel that we went to was Down the Rabbit Hole. There were two of the Disney Archive employees there sharing some of the less known stories or interesting relationships between different things. So that was interesting. I think everybody really enjoyed some of those. And there was content going back to some of the older Disney movies and things. So that was interesting. That was a fun panel to attend. So the biggest exhibit at the event was the Disney Archives area, which were cars from their collection from various Disneyland events or activities or movies or television shows. So we really enjoyed that. So we're sharing a variety of photos. So the first one is a roadster. It's a 1939 Bantam Roadster. And apparently Mickey drove around in this car in a parade. I think it said 1995 to 97. And then there was a runabout car, and this was used on Main Street. And apparently Walt Disney rode in the car on Main Street, and it was sometime in the 1960. One of my favorites, I think this was probably my favorite, was the Disneyland tram. Which, if you went to Disneyland, this is what you got on from the parking lot to get you to the front entrance. So I really enjoyed that. And it referenced that it was used between 1968 and 1997. Then there was the Muppet van, and this was from apparently a TV show in 2023 called Muppet Mayhem. So it was kind of a neat van to see. Then there was Walt's 1964 Mercedes Benz, and this was used in the 1965 That Darn Cat movie. And there was a neat little story on the board about Walt apparently buying the car for himself and then kind of, I guess, feeling guilty about it. So he decided to rent it out to the studio, and I guess it got used in the movie.
My mom and dad had a Mercedes they bought when they were living in Texas, and they brought it to Nevada. I believe it was a 230 or a 250 SL. My mom loved that car. My dad not so much. They were living in northern Nevada, Carson City near Reno, and they had to go to Sacramento to get the car serviced, which was wasn't a problem if you could drive the car there, but if the car broke down and needed service, it was a problem because not only did you have to pay the bill for the service, you had to pay the bill to get it towed down there. So they wound up selling that car.
The Cruella de Vil cars were neat. There were three different ones there. Uh, Two of them I caught were a 1974 Panther de Vil. One was used in the 2021 movie Cruella, and then the other one was used in the 101 and the 102 Dalmatian movies in 1996 and 2000. And it was also a Panther de Vil car. So those were neat. The love bugs, there were two love bugs there. Herbie. This one was a 1963 Volkswagen Beetle, and it was used in a 1997 TV show. I don't think I saw that. So that was the reference on that. Next was a 1965 Ford Mustang, and this apparently was the type of car that was used at the New York World's Fair in 1964-65 when Disney was asked to create some attractions for the fair. I guess he created four attractions: the Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, the Carousel of Progress, It's a Small World, and then the Magic Skyway. And the cars were used in the Magic Skyway. I think I said there was like 160 some cars where people got in the cars and they were on a track and it moved them around. The prehistoric, dinosaurs, which you now see at Disneyland, through the caveman era and then on into the future. So this was a car used in that type of uh, ride. Then the Interpol car, these were cute. This was from a Muppet movie called Muppets Most Wanted, and this was in 2014. It was a cute little car. And you can kind of see in the background the cab, too. I didn't catch which movie, but I remember that. Maybe Muppets Take Manhattan. I didn't see the display board on that one. Then there was a Model T, a 1915 Model T, which was used in the Absent Minded Professor movie in 1961. And then a little more modern, the A-Team van, which was a 1994 Chevy G Series van. And apparently it was used in the TV show in 2010. And then Tom went over to a different area. I didn't see this area. And there was a Tron light cycle, which was, I guess, used in a promotional tour for the Legacy movie in 2010. And in the background, you can see another vehicle, but I didn't catch what that Tom didn't have a picture of what that one was. Then from the Ford and Ferrari movie from 2019, there was a 1967 Ferrari 330 P4 and the 1966 Ford GT40 MK2. And again, that was from the Ford and Ferrari movie in 2019, which was a good movie. We both liked that movie. And then the last car we got was called the Homer. This was a 1987 BMW 325. And apparently, in the second season of The Simpsons, episode 15, the episode was called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And I guess Homer found out that he had a brother and he ran a car manufacturing. And I guess the brother was voice was Danny DeVito. But the write up about it says that a group of guys, I think there was like 5 guys, decided to try and build what this car may have looked like. And the car is actually run several times in the 24 hours of Le Mans.
Actually, it's not the 24 hours of Le Mans that car participated in. It's the 24 hours of Lemons.
Oh, lemons.
Endurance racing for $500 cars. And what it is, it's just kind of a fun event where people get cheap cars. You're not really supposed to spend more than $500 on them and see who can go the farthest in 24 hours. All it takes is a cheap car, cool friends, and one weekend. It looks kind of like a fun event. I don't think there's a whole lot of prize money, but it'd be fun.
Wonder if they have YouTube videos on that. We'll have to look it up. That would be fun to watch.
I'm sure they do. The next next race is coming up soon, September 14th and 15th in Washington. There's another one late in September, one in November at Sonoma Raceway. And the motto on their website, 24hoursoflemons.com, is pick a race and sign up.
So again, the cars were a really big area, and I think in some of the photos you may see some other cars that I didn't get the information on, but we enjoyed walking around and seeing those. And again, I think the tram was my favorite, and then the Corella cars too, I guess. So it was fun.
Hi, everybody. Well, we thought.
Better start over. I was making faces.
Okay, ready?
Yes.
Okay, hi, everybody. We thought we would do a little commentary or sharing about our trip to D23, which was first time for us to go. So we made a few notes based on some of the things we shared in the video and just some general thoughts. So we just got tickets for Sunday, so we only went one day, and the expo or convention was Friday through Sunday. So what did you think, Tom?
I liked it. I thought it was neat. There was a lot of neat stuff. And one part I really liked, except I didn't take any pictures of it, so none of it got into the video, was Industrial Light and Magic had an exhibit about how they film the Star Wars movies and the Avatar movies. And basically behind the actor is a big screen that's curved, big high resolution screen. And they show the images of the background on that screen while the actors film the movie. It's kind of the next step in the evolution of filming movies from the green screen. So the actors are acting in front of that actual background that's going to be in the movie. And so they know where things are better. But the neat thing about it is, I never really thought about this, but the reflection of the background is in their eyes. These little subtle differences. The lighting from the background is on the actor's face, so it really gives it a sense of realism. And it was neat, and it was a simple idea. It took a whole lot of technology to pull off, but it was just a huge TV screen, if you will, LED screen that the actors acted in front on the stage. And so I really like that part. And I just like seeing the old Disneyland stuff, like the old Mary Poppins costumes. I mean, Mary Poppins was out when I was a little kid. And it was just neat to see that stuff. I mean, I think there's a lot of people around that watch those Mary Poppins movies and to see the hat that Mary Poppins wore in certain scenes in the movie, to see the shoes that she wore was just neat.
Yep. Yep. I like that. Um, so I think the biggest thing, it was huge. I mean, it was the full convention, all three
Yeah.
floors of the Anaheim convention. Um, but it really was a lot of standing in line if you were wanting to see things. And it seemed like, and we didn't do that. So, um, I didn't really want to spend my time standing in line. So I primarily looked at the things that were things you could just walk up to and walk through without standing in line. We stood in line for the panels that we got. And again, as I mentioned in the video, we were fortunate to get it. I was following a Facebook group, and some people didn't even get assigned a panel. So, between the three of us, Tom and I and his sister, we were able to go to three panels because we all went to each one. So the panels were interesting.
And real quick before we get away from the
Yeah.
panels, the archive panel at the end was neat. But they were very clear that no pictures, you can't repeat any of the stories you heard. So, I mean, there was no like big dirt on Disneyland, but there was some interesting stories that they said you can't share. Otherwise, we would share them.
Yep. Hush, hush. Um, the cars, the archives, and that's what I was really interested in, was all the archival stuff. Like you said, the props from the movies, but the costumes. And so the cars, big area there that the archives, Disney archives put on, was neat.
The cars were neat.
Yeah,
Yep.
to see it. And I think, not only did you see that and remember, seeing that movie or remembering that particular car, like the tram. The tram was really neat. It would have been neat if they had a portion of maybe another tram that you could have gotten a photo op in,
That would
because
have been neat.
that's a generational thing. So if you missed out on that, you missed out. But I mean, that's where Disneyland experience started. When you went to Disneyland, when I was growing up in Southern California, was once you were on the tram, you knew, you were off for a fun day. So it would have been neat to be able to do photo ops.
That would have been neat. And I remember the trams the same way. We went to Disneyland when, I don't know, I was 8 or 10. And I'd read about Disneyland in National Geographic and was real excited. But yeah, you park in the parking lot with the characters marking the rows in the parking lot. And then, oh, here comes a tram. I read about the tram, and here comes a tram. And we got on the tram and went into the gates of Disneyland. And the tram was a real sense of arrival.
I was surprised. It referenced that it went through like the late 90s, and that was kind of surprising to me. I guess that would
Yeah.
be about right. I was thinking, really, that long? But yeah, and obviously they have the tram now from the parking garage, but it just isn't quite the same as the original
No.
Disneyland tram, which was fun.
I was surprised too how recently they changed over to the new trams. And I mean, I like the new trams too. They're
Yeah.
real modern
Yeah,
looking.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
real space age looking. I don't know. You look at the modern trams in there. I don't know. To me, it's got like a real Buzz Lightyear feel to them. They're just modern space age
Yeah.
stuff. And other things that I liked about the car exhibit, I was kind of expecting to see the cars polished on the outside and dirty and dusty and worn out and broken on the inside. And they weren't. The cars were kept in excellent shape throughout. I looked in through the windows and the interior was clean and it was good. And I was surprised, on the two Volkswagen Bugs.
Oh, the love bugs.
The Love Bugs. The racing one, there was a section at the part in the Love Bug movie where they were racing the Love Bug. And that car wasn't just made to look like a race car. It looked like for the most part, like a real built race car. It had a high performance engine. It had a racing cage in there, not just something to look like a racing cage. Except, I think somebody decided near the end they needed a vertical post down the center of the windshield. And you could see where they had just welded on a leftover piece of pipe. The ends were still cut on the bottom. It was welded onto the top of the cage and just stuck down below the level of the dash, so you couldn't see the bottom. And that end connected to nothing. But you could tell it was a scrap because that end was just still cut from where it was welded on, where it could have been welded onto another piece of pipe. So it was just neat to see that they kept that stuff in good condition. But the Muppets van was different. The Muppets van was not an operating vehicle. The floor was cut out. It had seats in there for the Muppets to sit on with just cross bracing, and the wheels were fake wheels. They were actually cut in half, and then it was on a big dolly so they could roll it around. And I realized, well, that makes sense because there was people that had to be crouched down in there
Yeah.
moving
so
the Muppets.
a prop.
That was a prop stage type thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so not only, like I said, do you look at these and remember them from the movies, but then Tom, talked about earlier in the video about the Mercedes, or the people who had Ford Mustangs or whatever. So it probably was reminiscent for people who had those types of vehicles and stuff. So I guess that's kind of all the various things. I mean, there was what was that? The Emporium place, which had a lot of different kinds of vendors selling pins and all that. And we didn't walk through that whole thing. We walked through a couple of that, but I mean, they were very popular. So I think we probably weren't the ideal expo goers. I don't think I would have gone for 3 days.
No.
But if you were going to stand in line, if you were going to commit to standing in line to see a bunch of that other stuff, then I guess you probably didn't go for 3 days, because you'd be spending all this time standing in line, which I didn't want to do.
Yep. Yeah, honestly, 1 day was enough for me.
Yeah.
And when it was neat, it was a neat day. It was a full day, but I don't think I would have wanted to go for 3 days. And maybe I don't necessarily agree. We're not that type of expo people. We saw the expo the way we wanted to see the expo.
Well, yeah. I just meant like a whole, commit to the whole 3-day thing.
Yeah. It was interesting. It was interesting listening to people talking about being there while we were waiting to get in there on Sunday. There was one group of guys that were talking about, oh yeah, we're going to get all this free stuff. And that's what they were there for, is to get the little Disney trinkets and the pins and stuff. And I'm not sure. Well, I went there because Sherry wanted to go there, and it sounded like fun to me.
Keep dropping my notes.
And but it was just neat to see that stuff, but I wasn't personally interested in the pins and the trinkets.
Yeah, no. I mean, but we got, you got the free lanyard and the bag. You got a couple things at the different things that we walked through. So I'm glad we went. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think I would go for 3 days.
3 days would be a little long.
And we did not go to any of the night stuff either. We figured that was all going to come out anyway. The Legends thing we could watch online over at the Honda Center, which the park panels where they talked about the new things coming. So we figured that was all stuff that was going to come out right after, or the night after, or the next day after the panel. So we didn't go to any of those. So, but like I say, it was still a fun time, and we got to dress up.
Yep.
As our cruisers, and got to see some neat things. So it was fun.
Yep. It was a good time.
All righty. Well, thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
See ya.